Now, this next story is a really interesting one. A story time event at a library in North Norfolk had to be cancelled yesterday because of safety concerns. Drag queen Titania Trust was due to read a story to small children at North Walsham Library, but the decision was made by Norfolk County Council to pull the event following safety concerns. That's because some people decided to protest at the event after seeing it was happening online. The phenomenon of drag queen storytime started 7 years ago with the aim to inspire a love of reading while teaching deeper lessons on diversity. Critics claim it's sexualising children. In a statement, Norfolk Police told us we attended and engaged with 2 people who are protesting peacefully at North Walsham Library. The decision was taken by the library to postpone the event. Well, BBC Radio Norfolk was there and we spoke to one of the protesters. He told us he wasn't from an organised group. That's despite leaflets being handed out against the event. He also wanted to remain anonymous.
It's adult entertainment. Again, as this gentleman said, they have sexualised names. Come on, we're meant to keep kids innocent for as long as possible. We're meant to keep kids innocent. That's our duty as parents, to keep our kids innocent.
And I've got a flyer here. Stop the sexualisation of our children. Are you part of an organised group? People that...
Me, so I'm just a normal man that comes when he's had enough. I'm a Christian man, and when the Holy Spirit tells you that something's enough, you have to listen.
So what did you hope the protest would achieve today?
Which it has done, stopped it. Maybe stopped it and bring some awareness, because again, no one was aware this was happening. No one was aware this is happening. If that doesn't show, if that doesn't ring alarm bells, then, you know, what does?
One of the anonymous protesters there speaking to BBC Radio Norfolk. Well, I'm delighted to say that Joseph Ballard, aka Titania Trust, is in the studio with us this morning. Hello, Joe. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you as well.
So you just heard the comments there from one of the protesters. How did you feel about that your event had to be cancelled?
I was utterly disappointed, to be honest. I've done story time for quite a while now. I think I was the second person to be doing it in the UK following the stuff in New York. So I've been doing it for a number of years. I've been up and down the country, and sometimes you get various messages. A few threats have happened, but nothing on this sort of scale before at all. And this has happened on my home turf, you know, in North Walsham, my old hometown as well. So over the past week, I've received threats, I've received messages, people telling me like they're going to light up my life and show me the way. This is part of a series of free stuff happening all across August in North Walsham and the surrounding area by my theatre company, New Stages. So it's part of a package of lots of stuff for children, older people and adults. But yesterday I got the phone call 2 hours before the event was going to start to say it had been cancelled because of safety concerns for the participants, because the protesters, there was an organised activity and they were saying they're going to be there to disrupt the event, so a safety call had to be made. I was disappointed because, this, if anything, this has fired me up. So this is why this event is so important, and I would have done it, but of course the safety of the participants has to come first, and various conversations with the county council, the library and the police meant the event didn't happen.
Yeah, and that is the worry. Obviously, there's no kind of risk taken because, it is kids coming along and you've got to be very careful with that. But, usually in these things, I'm sure throughout your life you've been like, no, I want to do this. Let's kind of puff our chests out and do it. But with kids involved, probably the right decision in the end if there was any concern for them.
And I think so. And I think also other things could have been in place, like, for example, with the police, like, I'm interested to know what the police could have done a bit more, so I'm talking to them later today, because the police are there to protect us and keep the peace. But we don't want to avoid these situations. If anything, we need to show this lot, where none of them were local. I think the most local person was from Caister, and out of the 15 people that we've seen photographed, they don't appear to be local at all. They've come in from elsewhere to cause trouble. But again, it's making sure safety is important, but also who's in the right, who's in the wrong. But we can't be bullied by these bigots. We can't be bullied by them. We can't start stopping our activity. I know there were loads of kids, around 50 to 60 children who were going to attend, all ready to go, and it's dampened their summer holidays.
Absolutely. BBC Radio Norfolk spoke to 2 of the protesters yesterday, and one of their concerns was that you would be doing adult-themed content to a very young audience. Well, what do you say to that?
Oh, it's just silly, isn't it? I would love them to come and see an event, actually, and experience a story time, because sometimes that's the best way, is educate the people. So, as Titania Trust, I've been performing as Titania since 2011. I've never done anything overtly sexualised or rude anyway. I'm quite family friendly. I do family pride events, events. I've done story time up and down the country. I do pantomime at Christmas. I do musicals. I do shows. And of course, no performer, whether it's myself or another drag artist, is going to do adult content during a storytime event for children. We're professionals, you know. Yes, I'm DBS checked because I'm a teacher, I'm a therapist, as well as a professional performer, so I take these things seriously. So of course nothing is going to be said that's inappropriate. And also the stories I was going to tell were about universal acceptance, nothing specific about sexuality or even gender.
You mentioned, you know, panto there, and obviously, you know, the kind of the dame in the panto, effectively that's a drag act, isn't it, you know, over the years. So we all go to pantos as kids, and there's no issues there. There's a few, even at, you know, a panto, there's a few little double entendres or a couple of little jokes in there.
Yeah, I'd say that, like, the last pantos, and so I was Mother Goose at Galston Pavilion last Christmas time, and loads of performances as Mother Goose. So, and I'd say there was more double entendres in that than I would ever do in a library. Like, I'd avoid them completely in a children's event. So what we're going to do, have these protesters turning up at pantomime now saying that that's a disgrace and how we should change that. Are they going to start scaremongering people to not attend panto and boycott their theatres? Like, these people have got to get a grip of what the world is about and actually educate themselves. They're worried about educating other people. They need to look at themselves and actually look at the world around them.
Absolutely, and you know, we always mention RuPaul and what she has done for the incredible world of drag queens. I mean, it's such a popular thing with young people now. It's such an incredible programme that the BBC presents, and you know, drag queens are more popular than ever, aren't they?
Yeah, at the moment, drag queens are really on trend with RuPaul's Drag Race, and we've seen other things happening with drag as well. And what I'm quite proud about is Titania Trust. I'm quite old school, so I think of things like Danny LaRue and drag in the 60s, and that's where my drag performance comes from. So I'm not a nightclub drag queen, I don't go to bars, but I do theatre shows and I do community events, because actually when you can have that animated voice for good, I will use it for good. I would never ever do anything bad, you know, because I've got a brand for that character, but also I'm a sensible professional individual with a mind, with a right mind, who's going to do the right thing.
If people are listening, Joe, who feel unsure about this, they might say that you can't just do a story time. Why do you have to do it in drag? Why can't you do it as Joe Ballard? What would you say to them?
I do story time as Joseph Ballard. I do it as other characters as well. I've done a story time as a wizard once. That wasn't protested because, you know, anyone against magic. So I do story time as myself. But the thing about drag story time is that it really engages the children in a different way, and we can look at diversity and about being special and unique. None of my themes so far in Storytime have been LGBT plus directly, but actually it's about the stories I was going to tell. One was about a lion and one was about a giraffe, and I was going to bring puppets of animals with me yesterday, and I was going to play the banjolele and do a song, tell the story. So for me, I do it as other characters, but this is as a character, and I see drag as performance. It's that, yes, it's got meaning to it when you perform in drag, and whenever someone does something that goes against society's norm, either consciously or subconsciously, it becomes political. And this mob that's pictured in the newspaper, they threatened me. They threatened a children's event to disrupt it. These people have politicised this much, much more, because they've not only talked about drag or the LGBT plus community, they've talked about me and called me a sexual predator. They've been really, really horrible to me in messages. So actually, they've politicised this way, way more than it should have been. And in 2022, you know, we want to be progressive, we want to go forward, despite whatever's happening at the top tier of the government at the moment with whatever their morals may be. Let's make sure us in the community are looking after each other, because we've got to be kind, we've got to be courteous. And the point of these storytime events is to encourage children to be open-minded about the world around them and not become bigots like this lot pictured outside the library.
The council sent us a statement, Joseph, to say they were very disappointed to have to postpone the event. They wanted to make the point that this postponement, and it wasn't a cancellation, it was a postponement. They went on to say Titania Trust has delivered storytime events at other locations, including the Millennium Library here in Norwich, and also received a warm welcome and positive response from children and families alike. However, we always put the safety and well-being of our service users first, and sadly the acts of a small number of people have forced us to postpone on this occasion. So the council are backing you. How does that make you feel? Obviously that's important.
Yeah, I think as well, there's been lots of negativity, but I've got way more support from the council, and that's from people on social media as well. I've had messages of support as well. That's people who've seen Titania perform or know myself, or people from the other side of the country offering support, and that is so important. And the point of all this activity, not just the story time, but all the stuff I'm doing in North Walsham in August, it's all completely free, and it's about connecting the community and bringing us together. And I've got another 20 odd free events happening this August as new stages. that everyone is welcome to come to, and it's about connecting people, having a good conversation, and looking forward towards the future.
And you've got your Titania Trust T-shirt on.
Yes,
In Titania we trust.
Yeah, in Titania we trust, and that's my brand, and that's, trust my instincts, trust my intuition, and actually, some people said they would rather have a story time told by Titania Trust than any of that motley crew pictured outside that library.
Joseph, we wish you lots of luck with all the story times, and carry on performing, because I know you entertain a lot of people. You certainly entertained me when I've seen you live.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. That's Joseph Ballard, aka Titania Trust, and if you've never seen Titania's act, you need to check it out. It's absolutely brilliant.